4 points, 27 minutes, primetime television, the most embarrassing performance in WNBA history just happened at the United Center. And Angel Reese was the star of this disaster show, while a sold-out crowd of over 19,000 people watched. In complete shock, Chicago's supposed superstar managed to score fewer points than most high schoolers do in warm-ups. But here's the kicker that nobody saw coming. Caitlin Clark wasn't even playing, and she still found a way to absolutely destroy Reese's reputation on live TV. What Clark did during this game will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about women's basketball. The build-up to this United Center showdown was supposed to be Angel Reese's moment to prove she could carry the spotlight without needing Caitlin Clark as the main attraction. Chicago had been pushing this narrative all season long, claiming Reese was just as much of a box office draw as Clark. Angel herself went on record saying fans don't just watch women's basketball because of one person, refusing to even say Clark's name. She demanded recognition, claiming she was equally responsible for the sport's growth. The Sky organization bought into this fantasy completely, moving their biggest game of the season to the United Center, the largest arena in the NBA, expecting fireworks and massive viewership. Then reality delivered the most brutal wake-up call in sports history. The moment Caitlin Clark was officially ruled out with a quad injury, the secondary ticket market collapsed faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. Premium tickets that were initially priced at over $100 suddenly became available for $3. $3. You literally can't buy a decent coffee for that price. Yet that's exactly what the market decided Angel Reese's star power was worth. Scalpers couldn't give these tickets away, and fans who had been planning watch parties suddenly found other plans for their Friday night. Social media exploded with screenshots of the $3 tickets, complete with laughing emojis and jokes about taking entire families to see Chicago play for less than parking costs. This ticket price disaster perfectly predicted the nightmare that was about to unfold on the court. But before we get to that train wreck, let's talk about what Angel Reese prioritized on game day. She rolled up to the United Center looking like she was heading to a fashion show instead of a basketball game. The coordination was immaculate. Boots matching her jacket, gloves perfectly complementing her hat, every detail of her ensemble carefully planned and executed. She clearly spent serious time making sure her pregame catwalk moment was Instagram ready. Which raises the obvious question that every basketball fan is thinking. Does Angel Reese spend more time perfecting her outfits than she does working on her fundamentals? Because based on what happened next, the answer seems pretty obvious. The statistical breakdown of Reese's performance reads like a parody of professional basketball. 4 points on 2 of 7 shooting in 27 minutes of primetime television. Let that sink in for a moment. Caitlin Clark averages more assists per game than Angel Reese averages points this season. Clark's passing 9.3 assists compared to Reese's 9.1 scoring average. That's not just embarrassing, that's career-defining in all the wrong ways. But the numbers only tell part of this horror story. Reese looked completely lost out there, missing layups that middle schoolers make in their sleep. One of her shot attempts got blocked so badly, the cameras caught every moment of her visible frustration as the game slipped away from Chicago. The crowd's reaction told the entire story of this meltdown. What started as excited anticipation from fans who paid good money quickly turned into restless disappointment and then outright frustration. You could hear the groans echoing through the United Center every time Reese touched the ball and inevitably missed another shot. By the fourth quarter, despite this being a historic first WNBA game at the United Center, fans were already heading for the exits. The energy shifted from electric anticipation to resigned embarrassment as Chicago's supposed superstar continued her spiral into basketball irrelevance. This wasn't Angel Reese's first public humiliation against Indiana, and that's what makes this story even more devastating. Back in May, the Fever destroyed Chicago 93-58 in a 35-point blowout that should have been a warning sign. During that disaster, Reese tried to get physical with Caitlin Clark, attempting intimidation tactics and aggressive contact whenever possible. She thought she could throw Clark off her game through old-school basketball bullying, but her tactics backfired spectacularly as Indiana cruised to one of the most lopsided victories in WNBA history. The pattern was already established. Whenever Angel Reese faces the Fever, she completely falls apart. Social media has been brutal in connecting these dots. Fans are posting side-by-side comparisons of both games, highlighting how Reese consistently crumbles under pressure when facing Indiana. The 35-point loss in May, followed by this 27-point disaster at the United Center, shows a clear psychological problem. Indiana has gotten so deep into Reese's head that she can't function properly when they're on the opposite side of the court. Her confidence doesn't just take a hit, it completely evaporates. The aggressive tactics don't work. Her shooting falls apart, and she looks like she doesn't belong on a professional basketball court. Here's what makes this United Center beatdown absolutely brutal for Angel Reese's reputation. Indiana didn't need Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, or even their head coach Stephanie White to demolish Chicago. Think about that reality for a second. The Fever were missing 3 crucial pieces of their championship puzzle, yet they still delivered a dominant 27-point victory that made the Sky look like a high school team playing against professionals. Kelsey Mitchell stepped up with 17 points, while Ari McDonald came off the bench to torch Chicago with 12 points and 4 steals. The ball movement was poetry in motion with 20 assists on 27 made field goals, showing a team-first mentality that Chicago simply couldn't match. Acting head coach Austin Kelly deserves major credit for this masterpiece of basketball execution. He stepped in for Stephanie White, and the team never missed a beat, emphasizing defense and fundamentals that held Chicago to just 52 points through lockdown rotations. The Fever forced turnover, contested every shot, and made the Sky work for every single point they managed to score. This performance proved Indiana isn't just the Caitlin Clark show. They're a legitimate championship contender with depth and resilience that separates title teams from pretenders. But here's where Caitlin Clark delivered the final blow to Angel Reese's credibility without even stepping on the court. While Reese was having her meltdown on national television, Clark was handling her injury situation with pure class and professionalism. No drama, no excuses, no social media attention seeking. She's scheduled for re-evaluation on June 9th and could potentially return as early as Tuesday against Atlanta. The contrast couldn't be more obvious. One player handles adversity with grace, while the other crumbles under pressure when the lights get brightest. This United Center disaster has cemented a narrative that Angel Reese and Chicago can't escape. The Fever are ascending toward championship contention, while the Sky are falling apart in spectacular fashion. What was supposed to be Chicago's moment to prove they had star power became the definitive proof that this rivalry is completely one-sided in Indiana's favor. The market spoke with $3 tickets, the scoreboard spoke with a 27-point blowout, and the basketball gods spoke through Angel Reese's 4-point disaster class performance. The scariest part for Chicago fans is imagining what happens when Caitlin Clark returns to this already dominant Indiana team. They just crushed their supposed rivals by 27 points without their best player, their 6th woman, and their head coach. When Clark rejoins this machine, the gap between these teams won't just be large, it'll be astronomical. Angel Reese's reputation took a beating that might never recover, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Primetime television, sold-out arena, and the biggest stage women's basketball had to offer. This performance raises serious questions about Angel Reese's future in professional basketball. Can someone who consistently disappears in big moments ever become the star she claims to be? The evidence suggests that when the pressure is highest and the stakes matter most, Reese simply doesn't have what it takes to compete at an elite level. Her focus on fashion over fundamentals, her inability to perform under pressure, and her pattern of failure against quality opponents paint a picture of someone who talks like a star but plays like a role player having an off night. The basketball world is watching, and Angel Reese just showed everyone exactly who she really is when it matters most. 4 points, 27 minutes, primetime television, and a reputation that might never recover from this United Center meltdown.